So if you watch these videos before, you'll know that I'm a commercial product photographer who also dabbles in documentary work. I work on worldwide ad campaigns, or at least I have. It's not what I'm doing day to day, but I do it month to month. You'll know that, if you watched before, you'll know that I've teased the idea that I'll talk about breaking my arm. And I thought, yes, I'll talk about it, but what is the lesson to be learned? And I think the lesson to be learned from it is you need to have some sort of backup plan. You need support, and I'll get into that. But first, let's go quickly through what happened to my arm. I had got this job that they wanted these big sweeping long shots through the corridors of the beautiful building they've got, and I suggested, or at least I didn't even get to the point where I suggested it. I thought, I've seen loads of people on those little Segway things. Let's get one of them, get on it with the gimbal, and we can get these completely smooth shots through the building. We can, move about. And I also bought a 12 to 24 lens for the Sony, so I could get everything in shot and it'd be amazingly smooth. Turns out I'm an idiot. I bought the Segway thing, the hoverboard, whatever you want to call it, took it home, turned it on, stood on it, just wearing socks, went from one room to the other, tried to step off it, sock got caught. Whatever fumbling I did, it thought that I wanted it to go that way as fast as possible. My body didn't get the memo. I flipped, head stayed in the same position, feet sort of eclipsed the horizon. I fell, tried to stop myself. My watch sort of was the first thing to hit the ground. It skidded my hand under myself, and my hip bone crashed into one bone on my arm. That bone broke and then shattered and just exploded the other bone. So one broken bone, one catastrophically broken bone with a sort of good 2 centimeter chunk blown out that the surgeon basically said doesn't exist anymore because it turned to powder. Think of if Thanos just wanted to get rid of a little bit of my bone. To the hospital, reset it, get it in the right position, plaster it up. Week later, surgery, 4 surgeons, everyone started getting really interested in it. That's when I knew I truly fucked up. Here's what it looked like before. Sorry if you're squeamish, look away now. Here's what it looked like before.
I'm going to clean you. For posterity to remind you to never go on
Yeah,
the
don't
Segway
do this
again.
again. Here's the x-ray of what the bones were like at that time. After surgery, they'd put 2 metal plates in, they'd given me a bone graft, and I was in a big old cast right up to my armpit. I was also on morphine and then codeine for, I think it was about 6 weeks total, and then 2 weeks of a horrendous come down. I had a good few months there of not being able to work. Not that I was like, oh, I can't really work, maybe I can do a bit. I just couldn't work. Anything I tried to do in the first couple of weeks when I was drugged up, I don't really remember. So that was bad times. Then in the come down period, I was just sick constantly. There was no way I was coming in here to do work. And then it kind of got a bit better. I was in the cast still, couldn't touch anything with this hand, but I could kind of, I could function, my brain could function. That was the important thing. So I was back in here, and luckily I had my partner, Katie. She was the one who came in and did the heavy lifting for me. At the time, I could kind of only work for an hour or 2 a day before I got too tired to work again. She came and helped me out. She could do the heavy lifting that I couldn't do. So I was able to get back to work kind of soon, but then in seriousness, it was a couple of months. And so why am I telling you this? Well, it hammered home to me the fact that I was lucky that I'd had the forethought years ago to build up a business savings which could see me through 6 to 12 months. And then, luckily, again, I'd had a bumper start to the year. So if you'd seen my videos about March and April, I did really, really well in March and April for me. And I didn't do anything with that money. I put it away. I put it in my savings. I had 20 months, give or take, of business savings that meant that I could pay myself for 20 months before the pot completely ran dry. I could keep the studio and maybe I would have had to cancel some subscriptions. But the other side of this is, like 20 months of pay might sound like an awful lot of money, but for me it's not as much as you might think, because I've been really frugal. Some might call it cheap, but in starting this business, I saw that the way to outlast any competitors was to be frugal, was to cut down to only the essentials. And I know, as a freelancer, as someone who does this, you might think, well, it's fine, I can get by if I'm a bit ill or if something happens. But you don't know how bad the thing that could happen to you might be. What if you're in a car crash? That's not going to, a car crash is not your fault at all. Someone comes out of nowhere, maybe you're not even the one driving, you're done. And you're done for months. Because a lot of the things I hear about people not setting up this business saving fund is that, if things start things, and they're thinking like, if work dries up, I'll go and get another job. I'll be all right for a bit. I'll go get another job. What if you don't have that option? I didn't have that option. It wasn't that it wasn't that work had dried up. It was that I couldn't work. So I wasn't going to be able to go and get an office job or a bar job or something. I had to pay myself still so that I could afford to pay rent, and I had to pay the rent on this place through the business. That's potentially a terrifying position to end up in. Luckily in the UK we've got the NHS, so this didn't cost me anything. Luckily in the UK there are some funds that will help you. You can sort of apply for sick pay from the government. It's almost not worth applying for though. It's so little money. If you've got savings, they won't give you that money because it's means tested, obviously. So if you've got thousands of pounds in the bank, which I effectively did, you can't apply for that. And then in other countries, I'm thinking of you, America, you don't have any of that. It hammered home to me, and I'm trying to pass that on to you. If you want to be a successful freelancer, if you want to start a successful business in this industry, so I'm talking the photography industry, I'm talking the video industry, I'm talking about what I know. If you want to start something in that, I would highly recommend putting some money together first, staying in your day job, whatever that is, putting together a fund that will last you at least 3 months. But I don't think that's enough. 6 months is better. 10 months is pretty good. Anything over a year, amazing. If you've injured yourself or created a situation where you are not going to be able to work for more than a year, I'd say you've probably got bigger problems at that point. And this all means that it's really important to know how much it's going to cost to run a business. It's also so important to look at the equipment that you're going to use, to look at how expensive it is to buy, to insure, to repair, or to replace. I use cheaper equipment because it's easier to buy, it's easier to replace, it's easier to repair often because I'm less worried about trying to repair it myself, and cheaper to insure. And that means that I don't have to have as big a business savings to last me a long time. I think that's all I'm going to cover in this video. I've got more to say about this topic, but I'll get to that in another video before this gets too long. Thank you for watching. Laters.